Hey everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Stash Project Stash Report, this time for the 23rd of October in the year of 2014. We've got a couple of, several new reissues to talk about. I know new reissue sounds sort of silly, but I mean, they're just new versions of previously reissued kits. We also have a couple of kits that have come out from Ravel of Germany this week, as well as, of course, we have one new announcement from the company BMAX. I'm not sure we actually covered the car announcement in and of itself, in the sense that we didn't necessarily talk about it coming out, but now it's officially available for pre-orders. This is not the Chevy Cruze, by the way. So, off to the Notebook of Knowledge. Yes, the Notebook of Knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, telling you everything you need to know. The BMAX kit. So we're going to get the second variation of the 1991 Toyota Corolla rally car, the GT4. This is going to be for the 1991 Monte Carlo rally. It is essentially the same kit as the last BMAX Toyota Celica rally car, except this one is going to come with a new suspension to be consisting of tarmac parts. The original one had a gravel suspension setup. Also, it's going to have a new front light pod as part of the Monte Carlo rally is run at night. So you're going to have basically night racing set up on the outside and a tarmac asphalt setting for the suspension. All of those parts are new parts. They're not shared from another kit or any other previous generation of some other kit from some other company. BMAX kits are, of course, distributed by Ashima, at least outside of the Asian Pacific countries. So when they'll actually be ever stocked into an actual hobby shop here in the United States, it's hard to tell, but your dependable Japanese retailers like Hobbylink Japan and Hobby Search are saying late November delivery for it. So whether or not it'll actually make it out in time, it depends. Everything seems to be so backed up in Japan right now. We're going to show you evidence of that in a second. But we've seen box art for it, but we also saw box art for the Cruze, and the Cruze is not yet. It isn't even available for pre-order yet. So there is box art for it. That usually in the world of Aoshima means you got 2-3 more weeks to go. Whether or not that 2 to 3 more weeks really pans out, we'll see. I believe they're happy with it as far as the kit parts are. Clearly, they aren't happy about something to do with the Cruze at this point still. And that's really the only new announcement we have available. Again, I don't remember if I ever mentioned it in the previous 14 weeks of it ever coming out. I know we focused really hard on that Chevy Cruze because of what a neat subject matter it would be. But this one has been planned probably about as long as the Cruze was, but now it's out first. And I'm looking around. The only two other kit releases that came out there are also, of course, reissues. We don't have pictures of them yet. Are the BMW M1 Pro car, racing car, and the Porsche 911 Carrera convertible. Both of these are Ravel of Germany kits, and both of them are officially out in Japan as well as Europe. When they'll be here on the shelves in the States, usually tends to be somewhere between 45 and 60 days after it's released internationally. We tend to have to filter through having stuff shipped from Germany to Illinois and then distributed by Hasegawa itself here at stateside. So they tend to run a little later than they would, directly. There's no third-party shipper in Japan. These guys are ordering a certain number of kits and they get them in. If you ever go to Hobby Search, sometimes you'll see, usually around the end of the month, they'll put up a big pre-order screen for everything that Ravel or Ravel of Germany is reissuing for the next 2 or 3 months, and then they do an order based on those pre-orders, and they don't, Ravel of Germany's not shipping 8 crates of kits over there to a distributor in Tokyo, and then they get filtered down to the hobby shops. You kind of have to order them in advance. But yep, that's really it for the Notebook of Knowledge as far as new stuff. It's been another quiet week over there. We have 6 kits, I should say, to talk about reissue-wise. 1 from Hasegawa, 5 from Aoshima, so we'll go through those real quick. The one from Hasegawa is, ironically, the kit we said was not supposed to come out until November. It actually came out the day after I said it wasn't going to come out until November. Yes, folks, I am that good at predicting nothing. November is when they told us, but it came out the day after the last video. so it came out last Friday. This is the Lancia 037 rally car, the Chardonnay. This is the Total FINA sponsored version. This could be built only one way, the way it is on the box. There's not two sets of decals or anything like that. This is a one option only car for the 84 Tour de Corsa. Once again, this is just like the other 037 Lancias we talked about last week, where it is a full detail kit with all the fancy instruction manual things with the real pictures of the real car alongside the diagrams to assemble the thing. You can see on the bottom left there, it does say limited edition. Once again, these Lancia rally cars are limited editions. They ran one run of them, and when they sell out, they're gone. I'm not trying to sound like a Hasegawa salesman, but I don't want anybody to think that, oh, I can order this for Christmas, and maybe I'll get one. Yeah, maybe you will, maybe you won't. Depends on how popular a seller those vehicles tend to be. Hasegawa has a catalog just like Fujimi and just like Ashima and Ravel and Round 2, where they have certain kits they keep constantly in stock, but the Asian kits tend to have limited edition attached to several of the runs. Hasegawa is the only one I've ever seen actually put it on the box. I suppose Ravel does limited editions too. They do that those SPP or SSP limited edition, the select kits. You saw the Black Widow do that last year before it was reissued in a regular box last month. So, if you want one, go get one. This should be the founding tenet of all Japanese kit purchasing. If you want one, go buy one. You may not have a chance to go buy one later. They'll always be on eBay, but do you want to pay the eBay prices for them? Because if you buy them straight from HobbyLink Japan or Hobby Search, you're going to end up paying probably at least $10 less than any of the Hong Kong-based hobby distributors, because Hong Kong-based hobby distributors tend to offer you the best price. Now, there are a couple of Japan-based retailers. I'm not going to name any names because I have not used any of them, so I can't vouch for whether or not they're good or not, that offer competitive pricing, but their shipping tends to be more expensive and slower. When you order from Hong Kong, the stuff goes out via Hong Kong Post, and Hong Kong Post is trackable through the U.S. Postal Service's tracking system, whereas SAL, the Surface Airlift, or Slow-Ass Logistics, as we like to call it, tends not to be a trackable thing. You just put in your order and hope like hell 3 weeks from now it'll show up. Usually these things do show up. I don't want to scare anybody from buying anything import on eBay. Remember, you are protected by eBay's buyer protection policy and all that happy jazz. But there's just no way to track your kit. It's like a Christmas surprise. One day it just shows up and you're like, ooh, yay, my eBay stuff's here. So anyway, your Ashima reissues here. These are pretty much all actually kits that were supposed to come out back in September. So they're a month late. Some of these are actually August's kits. Let me look here. Get out the notebook of knowledge and go paging backwards here. Excuse me. These are all August reissues. So this is how badly, as we said, we're going to show you how bad Japan is backed up right now. This is how bad it is. Five of these kits were supposed to come out back in August. So up first here is the Your Ass Skyline. Just giggle and make your own jokes there, folks. I personally really like this kit in the sense that it's the only R34 four-door Skyline that's out there. It is, some people will point out, just a rebox of a drift kit that was put out years ago by Ashima that was then later labeled for the Your Ass Tuning Company. It's essentially not really a four-door Skyline tuner car. It's just a drift car without decals. But the one upside to this, other than being the only four-door R34 Skyline that exists, is the fact that this kit has every single version of the wheels that it was issued with. So this kit comes with 3 sets of wheels. It does not come with 3 sets of tires, mind you, but it comes with 3 sets of wheels. So that's kind of cool. You get like 2 sets of wheels for buying it. It's like $18. I mean, a set of wheels is what, $9, $8, somewhere in there. Granted, the $8 usually comes with a set of tires, but you can source tires from anywhere. Go to Buckeye Scale Auto Parts. He's got tires for you. But the wheels are the expensive part of those wheel sets. They're not the tires. The tires, they run them off by the thousands. But like I said, you get all three sets of the wheels here. You get the ones that are shown here, plus you get a set of Nismo wheels, plus a set of like stock GTR Skyline wheels. Also coming out were a bunch of tuner kits. They're still not all out, but you've got the Mot Parfum F50 SEMA. You've got the Mot Parfum UCF 31 Celsior. This, of course, would be your Lexus LS 430 if you were going to be, building it U.S. spec. The Lexus parts aren't in there. Don't worry about that part. You also have the K-Brake Celsior and the Auto Couture Celsior. And this would be LS 430 also, but an earlier one. So you have a rash of VIP vehicles coming out of Ashima. You may remember those when we talked about them back in like July, that they were coming out in August, and then they just never showed up. So they finally have shown up here in the middle of October. So again, there's how badly behind things are running in Japan right now. It tends to really be a combination of national holidays, both in Japan and China, and things just get all wonked up at the end of the year. We see this every year. It's nothing new. You shouldn't be in a panic wing. Oh my God, Oshima's going to go out of business. They can't keep up with their orders. But no, it's nothing like that. It's just we see this every year. They tend to really pile on the reissues going towards Christmas because usually the Japanese retailers will have online Black Friday sales. At least Hobby Link Japan always does. 1999 has a bargain sale, which sometimes is the whole store, sometimes it's not. But Hobby Link Japan offers a Black Friday sale that pretty much covers the entire website. And so they like to try to, reissue as much of the back catalog stuff as they can before the sale runs, so that when you go, on, it usually starts the Saturday after Thanksgiving, you can go in there and buy stuff that's actually in stock. And if you go to Hobby Link Japan a lot, you know that they don't keep stuff in stock at all. But you know what, guys? That's it for the reissues. Coming pending, we still don't have Ravel's first quarter 2015 announcement stuff yet. I don't know. I can tell you right now that Ravel's fourth quarter stuff is backsliding ass end right out of 2014. The Starsky and Hutch cars have been pushed to January. The Rabbit has been pushed to January, which ironically puts it out now behind the Ravel of Germany U.S. release of the Ravel of Germany Golf GTI, as well as the Golf GTI convertible. Still no word about whether or not they're going to rebox that as a Rabbit convertible for the States. And then that goofy-ass no excuse for it. It should be drug out into the street and possibly, randomly assaulted. 97 Crown Victoria Snap police car, Bolden plate, goofy-ass bullshit thing that they're doing that has absolutely no basis in reality other than somebody thought, this is a good idea. That's pushed all the way back to February. And now if you're thinking, wow, that was an awful harsh line of criticism for a plastic model, guys, you can see, like right back here, there's a whole stack of Lindbergh Crown Vics. They're snap-type cars. They're not using that. Round 2 did not sell the Lindbergh tool to Ravel. Please, if you listen to nothing else ever spoken online or you read online, please. It is not the Lindbergh kit. Okay, Ravel is cutting brand new tooling for a 7-part kit that replicates that thing back there. That's how stupid it is. Because according to Ravel, and this is what Ravel has told people, little kids want police cars, and they won't know how, they won't know the difference. Because kids are stupid. They don't know what a Dodge Charger or a Caprice or the old Crown Vic, the 98 to 2011 body style, which that, of course, is not, or, the current Taurus Explorer police Interceptor utilities, or a Tahoe. They won't know the difference. You give them a 19-year-old car, or 18-year-old car, they won't know the difference. They're stupid. They just want someone to chase their Mustang and their Audi around with. They really, really missed the boat with that, because if they had made a Taurus-based police interceptor, they could have, of course, cut a new body and then release it as the Explorer-based police interceptor utility. Or just do it as the Taurus, or a new Charger, the new body, not the 2015 new body style. That would be ridiculous. You can't expect Ravel to release anything within 5 years of when it's actually made in real life. But the older, the Coke body style sided 2011 up Charger, or the Caprice is probably a wing and a prayer because it wouldn't share a chassis with anything else. But a Tahoe, there is a brand new diecast Tahoe out, the 2015. both in civilian and police trim. Policecarmodels.com would be the best place to go find one. They tend to be about $35. Kind of pricey, but if you want a brand new Tahoe, it's the only way to get one. But where we're going with this is they could have released anything newer than the stuff that has already been released. All of these Caprices, all of those Lindbergh Crown Vics, all of those Lindbergh, Chargers. They're 2009, Chargers tops. Really, they're 2006s. But they could, pass the 2009s. Anything newer than that, and the adult modelers who build police cars would have went out and bought a case of them. They had the same exact problem when they built that. They did that Mustang, the 92 Mustang LX police vehicle thing that then came out as a dragster. That thing with its chopped roof and its horrible proportions that made everybody who was really amped up to get some not buy any. Yeah, well, this is the same principle. Now they're releasing something that already exists that you can go on eBay and find for less than the kit will cost. I guarantee it. If you can't find one for less than the kit cost, call me. I'll give you one. But it's just silly. It's ridiculous silliness to assume that kids are that stupid. Because right now the way Ravel has things set up is those build and play 7-part things. Then you go to the pre-painted disasters of the Camaro and the Charger, and then you're just free willied off into the glue kits. There is no actual concise step-by-step building of anyone's skills. It's either really, 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 really simple, then it goes to stupid but gluey, and then you're off and running. And there's, when Monogram and Ravel existed as separate companies, you could sort of get your Snap 132nd self on, and then you went up to Snap 125th scale, and then you went into like Monograms kits. And, those, if anybody's, my age or around my age knows that those Monogram kits were like 70, 80 parts. They were really simplified, but look really good when you got them done. The way a lot of Asian kits are. Simplified, but look good when you get them done. And then you went up into Ravel if you wanted to fiddle with doors on a 56 Nomad, or you wanted to argue with the trunk on a 57 Chevy or something like that. Ever since they merged, that philosophy of having a gradual increase in skill levels to get you to be a proficient modeler is out the window. Because, of course, kids don't build models, and adults don't build models, and nobody builds models, and I don't even know why we make models anymore. We might as well just sell everything, put it on a huge pile, burn it like the Nazis did the books, because, holy Moses, there's just nobody doing anything. And yes, that's a little excessive, but the point is, there's no way to sort of lead a kid along. I've got kids, there's no way to take them from a real basic kit to a glue kit. It's such a quantum leap, and these pre-painted kits are not the answer to that, at least not in the way they should be. That unless they sort of plug the gaps as we go along here in the next, say, 2 to 3 years, because after that they'll see the pre-painted kits as a failure and the build and place as a failure, and then it'll be all like, well, we tried to market to the kids and they didn't want to build anything. And go look at Ravel's past. They did those stupid models with the video games that they spent $8 million developing, those racing video games that were abysmal, and you wonder what they spent the $8 million on, because it wasn't either the model or the box or the video game that you got with it. And they cost like $70, and nobody was going to pay that much because, that was back in the days when, video game prices have really never, ever moved. They've always been parked in that $60 range if you wanted a new video game. Those things were abysmal failures. The only successful set of Snap-Tight kits they ever really put out were the ones in the mid to late 90s that had like the Caprice that became the Impala SS, had the Acura NSX, the Ford Mustang, and several other Snap-Tight 125th scale kits, but they were all like 70, 80 part Snap-Tight kits. It got you into the idea of how many parts a real kit has, and adults loved them, so that they bought them too. And most of those kits are now glue kits in the Ravel catalog. You see them a lot of times when people buy them, and they're like, I bought this kit, it's a fucking Snap-Tight, what the hell? Because nobody knows kit heritage. And you're like, well, yeah, because it's not really a Snap-Tight kit. It's not really a glue kit, rather. It's a Snap-Tight kit. We saw that recently with the Ollie's blowout of all these kits. So many people bought those Dodge Dakotas that Lindbergh made right before they went out of business as Craft House, and got them home, and they're not marked as Snap-Tights anymore. They're marked as level 2 glue kits, and they got them home, and they're just saying, a fucking Snap-Tight kit. It doesn't say Snap-Tight on the box. I paid $8 for this, and I feel ripped off. clearly they never bought a Lindbergh kit during the 90s when they did all the promo work for Chrysler, because, anything with a Chrysler Sebring or the Chrysler, the Dodge Caravan or the Dodge Dakota when it was out originally, or any of these Crown Vics or any of the 40, 50 part snap together, kits would have known what they were getting, regardless what the box said, because the John Lloyd Industries run of the Crown Vics didn't say they were snap-tie kits either. But what did you think they do? Magically make these things into glue kits? They magically made the Impala SS into not only a donk, but a lowrider, and then magically made it into a glue kit? No, it's still a snap-tie kit. All the 90s, late 90s, early 2000 Corvettes are all based off the Snap Corvette. Just look at them, the parts-wise. They're all got mounting bosses the size of, a roofing nail rather than a pin. It's I don't know. Kit heritage is one of those things that just rubs me the wrong way. If you're going to go spend $20 on something, you probably should know what you're buying. That's why we're here part of the way. But anyway, I feel better now. So that's your Ravel situation. The stuff that's going to be coming out the next 2 months, November and December, I'm really going to be entertained to see what those release sheets look like, because everything is getting pushed back into 2015, which has for some reason apparently made them push the announcements back into 2015. We figured we would have had them by now. If they don't do them by the end of the month, something's going to be kind of hinky with what's going on with their molding, because it's like, guys, it's going to be the first quarter here in 90 days, actually, it is already 90 days. It's going to be the first quarter here in about 45 days, and we don't know what we're going to buy next year. And anytime you want to let us know, it'd be great. We'll wait. We've got nowhere else to be. Anyway, so lastly, from Ashima, their blog, just look up Ashima blog. It'll be in Japanese, but you can go to Google Translate or something like that and translate it back into English. Has been really interesting the last, say, 5 days. On Sunday, they do their supercar blog, which tends to be about stuff like the McLaren F1 GTR and the Lamborghini Murcielago, especially the RSV version, because they're doing the racing version kits coming out the end of the year here. But we saw the box art officially for the Lark car, for the Lark GTR F1, so that's imminent. It's coming out any minute now, thank God. They've been so backed up on that for so long now that, I hate to see all the sales they lost to Fujimi, because Fujimi had their goofy ones out first. But hopefully the people who really knew what they were doing waited, and now they're finally going to get paid off here probably the next week or two. Then they showed blurred out box art for the Toyota Athlete. Apparently the box art has not officially, at that time, been approved by Toyota yet. But those box arts are complete. I don't think Toyota's going to turn them down. I doubt it. So those box arts are done. So those kits, which were supposed to be out at the beginning of this month, which look like they're coming out next month now, but at least the box arts are done. We should know this Sunday whether or not they were approved, actually. So we get to see those box arts for those two, the Crown Athletes. So those are a couple weeks away. We saw a blurred out runner of a test shot of the next supercar. Now, the next supercar was thought to be a brand new tooling, but they're saying this is a variation of something that already exists. And with it being blurred out, you can't quite tell if it's the interior bucket, because it's the interior panels and stuff like that. It's the interior bucket off of the Aventador, or it's the interior bucket off of the McLaren, because the interiors are pretty much the same. It's just a U-shaped thing. And it's with it being blurry, you can't tell if it would support two seats or just that center seated position the McLaren F1 has. The translation, is machine translation from English to Japan, so you kind of have to read between the lines of what it says, because it's not going to quite come out grammatically and correct. Said that this was a variation. The person who writes the blog anyway and is in charge of the supercar thing said that this variation is what they thought they should have done first. Now, if you think of the Aventador, there's only two other Aventador really that they're involved in, or they haven't done. The Aventador J, that really wild roadster that has a windshield that's like this tall, which, I don't think that would have been the first kit you would release. And then the Liberty Walk Aventador, which, they're really involved with Liberty Walk. They just were just out at a race day at Fuji Raceway here not that long ago. So that's a possibility. Or it's a civilian version of the McLaren F1. which a lot of people think that should have been the first version, to knock the Fujimi one, I'm looking at it, the Fujimi one off its pedestal. Because for too long now, Fujimi's had the market cornered on McLarens. And, we'll see. Probably they said next week, so Sunday. Hopefully Sunday we'll find out what it is, and we'll have some, big news, or at least interesting information next week. I also did say that there is a brand new clean sheet supercar coming, and they will start teasing information about that next week. So that's kind of cool because, they showed a pixelated thing of it, and it kind of sort of looks like a McLaren, and it kind of sort of looks like a Lamborghini. Those are the two licensees they have right now as far as these, what you consider supercars are. The McLaren, because of all the F1 GTR stuff, and the Lamborghini, because they've had a Lamborghini license since 2010 when they started doing the Countach kits, and then they did the, Aventador, and then they went on to the Murcielago, and part of me would like them to go back and do the Gallardo, a regular Murcielago, and the Diablo, and sort of fill in all that space, because your regular Murcielago, your Gallardo, and your Diablo were all Fujimi kits, and they're all no engine, very low detail, look nice when you build them, but they're not full on detail kits like you'd expect. And then the McLaren, we'd like a civilian version of the fax machine, what Jeremy Clarkson calls the MP12C, and as well as the brand new P1, and that's a really nice looking car. It's the fastest car Motor Trend ever tested and stuff like that. So very interested to see what this clean sheet supercar is going to be. You kind of, it's going to be and then you start thinking, well, what kind of other tooling variations can you do with that? Because, like the fax machine had a Roadster, and so does the P1, and if you do the other Murcielagos, well, there's a whole bunch of Murcielagos, and there's a whole bunch of Gallardos, and there's a whole bunch of Diablos, and there's a whole bunch of stuff you could do with any of these kits. It's can't wait to see what it is. But in current form, in October, you're supposed to get the E70 Corolla, the best car vintage based Corolla conversion to a police vehicle, as well as the VG45 Type L Toyota Century. Both those box arts are done. We got to see them today. So those kits are only a couple weeks away as well. Probably 2-3 weeks, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. It all depends on, shipping and packing and all the rest of that happiness. So those kits are out, and what they did say about those kits, what I found really interesting, and what shows what a fan base Toyota kits have, no matter how you release them, is that they said that those kits got more orders than they expected than anything else they have on their release schedule for the rest of the year. Supercar stuff not excluded. So when you start talking about stuff like the Pajero and the Fairlady and all the Back to the Future cars and all of the Albino Ducati Monado cars and all that stuff, the Crown Athlete and the Corolla and the Century have gotten more pre-orders and more interest out of anybody than anything else they have to offer. So, that's going at it, guys. Pre-order those kits, and let Ashima know what you want made, because they're probably the most receptive manufacturer out there. And until we have more information from that receptive manufacturer and all the other manufacturers, we'll see you on the other side.